Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to really cut through all the information overload and get you the insights that matter. Today, it's not just about movies. We're taking a real deep dive into, well, the incredible journey a film takes. From just an idea through so many hands finally to you, the audience. And maybe, just maybe, sticking around for generations. Okay, let's unpack this. We've gone through, a stack of sources, loads of lessons on filmmaking. Our mission, it's to pull out the really key stuff about how movies actually come alive, not just the tech side, but how they somehow achieve this kind of immortality. We're tracing it all the way from the final decision, the final cut, right through to this bigger idea of a film's legacy and its infinite perpetuity.
What's fascinating here, and I think what our deep dive really shows, is how deeply connected every single stage is. It's not just step one, step two. It's more like a living system. Post-production choices, they shape the marketing. Distribution choices, they decide who even gets to see it. And even the legal stuff, the IP, that affects how long a film can last. Understanding all these moving parts, it gives you the full picture. Not just what happens, but why every decision is so critical for a film reaching you and hopefully making an impact.
Absolutely. So let's start pulling back that curtain. The thing we see, the version that feels, well, definitive, the final cut. To us, that's the movie, locked, finished. But it's way, way down the line from the first version, isn't it? It's the end result of this intense process, maybe sometimes a bit contentious. Can you maybe sketch out how a film sort of evolves through those earlier cuts before it gets to that crucial picture lock?
Yeah, it's a bit like sculpting, actually. You start with the assembly cut. That's basically all the usable footage just strung together roughly in order. It's the raw clay, Then you get the rough cut. The editor starts shaping it more, finding the rhythm, the initial pacing, still pretty raw, but the story's starting to emerge. After that, often, comes the director's cut. This is really the filmmaker's vision. Sometimes with scenes or choices that might get challenged later, it's their pure artistic statement. And then the big one, picture lock. That's the moment. The visuals are absolutely final. No more adding frames, taking frames out, rearranging scenes. It's locked.
Okay, so picture lock sounds like the finish line for the editing team. But if we connect this to the bigger picture, it's actually a huge starting gun for a lot of other teams, right? What does locking the picture really mean for, say, the sound designers, the composers, the VFX people, and crucially, who usually gets the final say in that whole complex approval dance?
That's exactly it. Picture lock isn't an end. It's the bedrock everything else builds on. For sound, music, VFX. It means they can finally sync everything precisely down to the individual frame, knowing the picture won't change underneath them. The pressure, it's immense. Because one tiny change after lock can cause this huge ripple effect, meaning tons of rework. And that approval process, it's often this really interesting negotiation. You've got the director pushing for their artistic vision, but then the producers, the studio execs, they're looking at, does it work commercially? Will audiences get it? Does it line up with the marketing? Sometimes even test screenings come into play, leading to tweaks. Ultimately, though, unless a director has that very specific final cut privilege in their contract—
Sign a golden ticket.
Right. Unless they have that, it's usually the producers and the studio who have the final say. They're trying to find that balance, between the art and the potential return.
Right, that art versus commerce tightrope. Okay, so the film's polished, approved. Now the challenge shifts, doesn't it? From making it to getting people to actually see it. Here's where it gets really interesting. The marketing arsenal.
Yeah.
What would you say is the ultimate secret weapon in a film's marketing toolkit? The thing that grabs you instantly?
Oh, without a doubt, it's usually the trailer. What's fascinating here is how a truly great trailer works. It's not just a summary. It's like a pre-emotion machine. It creates this phantom memory of the film. It makes you feel like you've already experienced its core emotional beats, sometimes even before the film itself is totally finished. That psychological priming, that's its real power. It's this incredible art of condensation, taking hours of film and boiling it down to 2, maybe 3 minutes that hook you, build excitement, but hopefully don't give everything away.
That's a brilliant way to put it, a pre-emotion machine. I remember the first Inception trailer. Completely baffling, but I had to see it. Is that kind of mystery box thing always the way to go? Or can it, sometimes miss the mark? And what's the thinking behind different trailer types, like a teaser versus the full one?
Yeah, that mystery approach, when it works like Inception, it's amazing, creates huge buzz.
Yeah.
But you're right, it can backfire. If it's too confusing or feels like it's hiding a weak film, audiences get frustrated. The strategy behind the different types, it's all about managing that anticipation. A teaser is super short, comes out early, just a hint, maybe a mood, a star reveal. builds that initial curiosity. Then the official or full trailer lands closer to release, gives you more plot, more character, a clearer sense of the story. And then you have things like the red band trailer, uncensored, for mature audiences, and the green band, which is the all audiences version you see everywhere, each one targeted, timed precisely.
Makes sense. So the trailer hits your ears and eyes, stirs things up. But what about that silent storyteller? The image that stops you scrolling or catches your eye in a cinema lobby? The poster, the one sheet. What's its unique power?
The one sheet, yeah, it's the film's silent pitch, often the most lasting piece of artwork. Its power is immediacy. In just one look, it has to grab you, hint at the genre, maybe spotlight the stars or a key image, and set the whole tone. Like, think about the Jaws poster. Instantly iconic. That swimmer, the huge shark underneath, boom. Dread, scale, conflict, all in one image. No words needed initially.
So iconic. And besides these big visual hitters, there's another tool, maybe less glamorous, but super important for getting the film taken seriously. The press kit. What's its role, especially now everything's digital?
The press kit is really about professionalism, consistency. It's the film's official resume, basically, for journalists, critics, distributors, festivals. In the digital age, it's arguably even more important. A clean, easy-to-navigate digital press kit with high-res photos, clear synopsis, director's statement, trailer links makes it easy for the media to cover the film accurately. It ensures everyone's working from the same information, which boosts credibility and helps the film's message cut through all the noise online. It's not a clunky folder anymore. It's a shareable, professional digital package.
Right. It's about presenting a unified front. You mentioned distributors, and that feels like the next big hurdle. The film is made, the marketing materials are ready, now what? How do filmmakers actually get their movie out there to audiences today? What are the main distribution models?
Distribution. Yeah, that's the million-dollar question for so many creators. It's the whole complex system for getting the movie from the makers to your screen, wherever that screen might be. The landscape now is, well, incredibly varied. You've still got traditional theatrical distribution, big screen first. Think major blockbusters, creates buzz, prestige, aims for big box office. But the catch, it costs a fortune in marketing, super high risk, and you usually need a major distributor backing you.
And then streaming just blew everything up, didn't it?
Completely. Video on demand or VOD and streaming models have really taken over large parts of the landscape. Netflix, iTunes, Tubi, all those. The big advantages are, potentially lower marketing spend, instant global reach, and a space for niche films that might never play in a multiplex. Downsides, the sheer amount of stuff out there. Getting noticed is tough. Less of that traditional cinema prestige, maybe.
So it's not just one or the other anymore.
Increasingly, no. We see a lot of hybrid distribution. Maybe a limited cinema run first to get reviews and qualify for rewards, then quickly onto VOD, or releasing simultaneously day and date. It offers flexibility, tries to get the best of both worlds, but it can be complex to negotiate and sometimes upsets the traditional cinema owners. And then there's DIY self-distribution. Filmmakers taking total control, using platforms like Vimeo on demand, hosting their own screenings, selling directly.
Wow, that sounds like a lot of work.
It is. Huge workload. But you get full control and potentially a bigger slice of the revenue. You need to be really savvy about marketing, though. And we shouldn't forget ancillary markets. That's the long-tail DVD, Blu-ray, selling rights to airlines, TV channels, merchandise. That can bring in revenue for years.
That covers getting it out. But this raises an important question, especially for indie filmmakers, the ones without that big studio muscle.
Right.
How do they even get on the radar of distributors? How do they get that first crucial bit of validation? That's where film festivals come in, right? Why are they such game changers?
Oh, film festivals are absolutely critical, especially for independent voices. They're more than just screenings. They're curated marketplaces, launchpads. Their importance is huge. First, exposure and discovery. It's often the only way an unknown film gets seen by distributors, sales agents, producers. Second, networking. They're hubs. You can meet potential collaborators, financiers, decision makers face to face. That's invaluable. Third, validation and awards. Getting into a major festival like Sundance or Cannes or winning an award there, that instantly boosts a film's profile. It can trigger distribution deals, justify all the hard work. And finally, direct audience engagement. You get to see real audience reactions, do Q&As, connect with people who are passionate about film. That feedback is gold.
Okay, so the film's out there. Maybe it's hit the festival circuit. But underpinning all of this is the legal stuff, the protection, intellectual property, IP. It sounds dry, but it seems absolutely fundamental, like the film's DNA. What's the most crucial piece of IP for a filmmaker, and why is it just non-negotiable?
IP isn't just a legal shield, it's actually the film's currency. The absolute bedrock is copyright. Think of copyright like the legal deed to your creative house. It grants you, the creator, the exclusive rights to control how your work, the script, the music, the final film, even specific shots is used, copied, distributed, adapted. It prevents others from just taking your work and profiting from it. But what's really non-negotiable, especially when dealing with studios or distributors, is the chain of title.
Chain of title. Sounds like medieval property law or something.
Aha, kind of. It's the complete documented history of ownership. It proves you've secured all the necessary rights from the original story adaptation to the scriptwriter, the composer, everyone involved, without a clean, unbroken chain of title. No distributor or studio will touch your film. They need absolute certainty they own the rights fair and square before they invest millions in releasing it. It's not just about avoiding lawsuits later, it's about ensuring they can actually exploit the film across all markets, potentially for sequels, merchandise, everything. It's fundamental to its potential for infinite perpetuity.
Got it. So the ownership trail has to be crystal clear. Now, within copyright, there's this often mentioned concept, fair use. It sounds like a loophole almost. Can filmmakers just use bits of other copyrighted stuff if it's for, say, commentary? What's the reality there?
Fair use. It's a notoriously tricky area of law. In theory, yes, it allows limited use of copyrighted material without permission for specific purposes like criticism, commentary, news reporting, parody. But here's the thing, the deep dive warning. Relying on fair use is like walking a legal tightrope without net. It's incredibly subjective, based on a four-factor test, and what you think is fair use might not be what a judge thinks.
So probably best not to risk it unless you absolutely have to.
Exactly. Unless you have solid legal advice confirming your specific use case is strong, seeking permission is almost always the safer, smarter path. Why risk a costly lawsuit?
Makes sense. So assuming the IP is locked down, what's fascinating here is how these protected creations are then received and evaluated. The role of the critic seems to have shifted massively with the internet. How do you see their job today? Is it still just about good or bad?
Yeah, the landscape has definitely changed, but the core function of a good critic remains vital, and it's much more than just a thumbs up or thumbs down. Their job is really to analyze, interpret, and provide context. A good critic uses their knowledge of film history, genres, a director's previous work to help you understand why a film works or doesn't on a deeper level. They can provide context, placing a film within a larger conversation. They can spark discussion, getting people thinking critically. And yes, they guide the audience. Reviews from trusted sources, whether it's legacy media like the New York Times or aggregators like Rotten Tomatoes, still influence viewing decisions for many.
So the traditional critic versus, like, a YouTube reviewer, is one more valid?
It's less about validity and more about approach and sometimes expertise. The internet has democratized criticism, which is great in many ways. More voices, more perspectives. But the best traditional criticism often offers a depth of analysis built on years of study. That said, many online reviewers offer fantastic insights too. The challenge is discerning thoughtful analysis from mere opinion or reaction. Ultimately, a critic's review can have real impact boosting an indie film, maybe hurting opening weekend box office, but it's still just one informed perspective. Filmmakers can see it as valuable feedback, even if it stings.
Right, one voice among potentially many. So stepping back and looking at this whole massive journey, from the first cut to the final reviews and distribution, what does this all mean? Where does it lead? This brings us to the really profound part, the legacy of film. What defines that? How does a film actually achieve that kind of lasting importance, that true immortality?
A film's legacy. Yeah, that's its enduring footprint, its lasting impact, long after the opening weekend, long after the awards season. It's how it resonates through culture, technology, society. That's its true immortality. And it builds over time. You see it in different ways. There's cultural impact.
Right.
When a film just seeps into the zeitgeist, catchphrases people repeat, characters who become archetypes, styles that influence fashion, maybe even shifts in how we discuss certain issues. Think about The Godfather. It didn't just tell a story. It redefined how we see the entire gangster genre. Then there's technological influence. Some films are pioneers. They push the boundaries of what's possible. Jurassic Park in CGI, Avatar in 3D. They literally changed how movies are made and experienced. They become benchmarks. And maybe most profoundly, artistic and social influence. These are the films that say something significant about being human, about our world. They get studied in film schools, debated for decades. Think of Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing. Its commentary on race relations is just as powerful, just as relevant today. That's legacy.
Wow. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this idea of legacy seems to flow into something even bigger, this concept you mentioned, infinite perpetuity. What does that really capture? Why is that the ultimate aspiration?
Infinite perpetuity, it takes legacy a step further. It sees a film not just as impactful, but as a kind of permanent time capsule. It captures a specific moment, a story, performances, ideas preserved forever. A film's value then isn't just box office. A film that flopped initially might be rediscovered years later and hailed as a masterpiece, profoundly shaping a genre or inspiring new filmmakers. What's fascinating now, especially with digital preservation and streaming, is that a film's meaning isn't fixed. New generations discover it, interpret it through their own lens. Films are potentially more accessible globally for longer than ever before. So the final cut of legacy, leading to infinite perpetuity, that's the dream, isn't it? To create something that resonates beyond your own lifetime, beyond trends, beyond the original technology. Every single choice made during that whole journey we discussed, from script to final sound mix, contributes to whether that film will have that lasting echo, connecting with people decades, even centuries later. And it's why the work of film archives, preservationist institutions like the Library of Congress, it's so incredibly important. They're actively fighting to ensure this cinematic history, these time capsules, aren't lost to decay or neglect.
What an incredible arc. From the painstaking details of the final cut, all the way to this profound potential for infinite perpetuity. It really makes you think about all the sources, artistic, technical, commercial, cultural, candle, that shape what a film becomes and how it endures.
It really does. And maybe a final thought to leave you with. Every time you choose to watch a film, any film, you're doing more than just being entertained. You're engaging with potential history, a piece of technology, maybe even a future time capsule. So consider this. Which films, for you, feel like they'll achieve that true infinite perpetuity, and why? What is it about them beyond just being popular right now that gives them that enduring power, that lasting voice? Something to ponder.